The Snowball by Walter Tasbas. Remember, children, and not to forget as I let you out for your holiday break, I want to go over a few words of advice that will help you to stay happy, safe, and be nice. Stay close to all others and don't be a nuisance, you all. Be humble at heart and be patient whenever you feel like a growl. Remember your manners and mostly of all, play safely with all others and tell someone when something is wrong. If you remember these words, you will most definitely have the most wonderful, wonderful holiday season of all. Ring, ring, ring. Out went the children, out went them all. As soon as the children left to go to their homes, they stopped to play in the blowy cold valleys and mountains that were now deeply covered in snow. Some children made snow angels and others made balls. Some threw it at each other, while some rather stayed warm in their shawls. While little Sally, Peter, and Fred decided to make a snowman instead, which Sally started with only a roll. The ball Sally was pushing to make the snowman's head soon became way too heavy to lift for even Peter and Fred. So the three Freds decided to keep on rolling it instead to make this snowball as big as they can. After a while of rolling and molding and throwing up snow, the children noticed their three friends, Sally, Peter, and Fred, all rolling a ball bigger than an elephant's head. All the children in Mrs. Trinker's class began to push the snowball up the town's largest mountain valley instead. They helped make the snowball as big as they can. Before they knew it, the ball had now grown 10, 15, 100 tons more. Now it is much larger than ever before. As the children kept pushing that humongous ball up that steep mountain cove, higher and higher and higher the children would go. The ball was so high now it towered the sky. Still higher and higher and higher they continued on more. The children kept on pushing and pulling that great ball of snow, but soon the ball became too heavy to pull, push, or roll. They pushed and pushed, but still not a budge. The great ball of snow was unable to grow. Penelly, Penelly, I know you are chipper, but can you go out and get Fred? It's almost time to eat dinner. Penelly to herself thought what a bother, to go out in that chill to bring home that troublesome brother. She opened the door and walked into a freezer. With snow blowing all over, she felt colder than ever. She looked up and saw Fred with all of his friends, all huddled together. She yelled at the mess. Fred, get down from that mountain. Get down right this last second. It's time for our dinner, and this weather, for one thing, is terribly unpleasant. Way up in the mountain, the children heard that great yell. Fred knew it was time to go home, time to expel. But he was still not just ready, so he yelled back to Penelly, "Tell them I'm coming, and I'll be on my way. But right now, I am not just yet ready, Penelly." Penelly, just 3 months past 8, felt the cold snow in her boots and all over her face, let out the most powerful scream that a girl of 8 and 3 months can only reiterate. "Fred, come down now!" She screamed up at Fred, up at the snowy covered mountains and valleys ahead. She screamed so loud that it was heard from the top of the mountains down to all the persons in town. The scream was so loud that the echo was heard from every place all around. High in the mountain sat a bushel of birds that heard the great racket made by the children referred. They thought such a high-pitched squeal was not a good deal, for that might just make a snowfall become real. Just then they heard the snow rumble, then tumble and roll. The noise was so loud it was heard as the birds picked up and rode on. The snow-capped mountains, they started to fall. Down towards the children, down towards the town. Down came the snowfall, bound straight for them all. From above the children saw that same bushel of birds that now sat on the top of that greatest snowball. They yelped out a call to all that was near. "Watch out there, children, trouble is here. With the noise you kids are making, the snow is to fall. Watch out to all there below rolling this ball." As soon as we knew it, we heard creaking and shrieking, breaking and shaking. We heard all kinds of sounds. Suddenly we saw it, an avalanche in the making. The mountain had come alive, and the snow had now rushed down. Before we knew it, our bird friends had swooped around, lifting each one of us off from that cold, snowy ground. We were over the snowball and over the town. We saw over the top of steeples as well as neighboring towns. We were scared, but knew we were safe, safe from the snow that was billowing on below. When the avalanche hit our great ball of snow, the ball started to rock, then began on to roll. Onto the town it started to go. It rolled on down the mountain, combining the snow, making the snowball 100, 1,000, maybe even 1,000,000 times more. It soon scooped up the houses and churches and even the mosques. It sucked up the stadiums, the restaurants, and even the malls. They piled on top like a meatball covered in sauce. When the snowball stopped from rolling, we couldn't help but to see that the great ball of snow had in fact smothered the entire county and now was as big as can be. When the great ball of snow stopped from its roll, the snowball was much greater than ever before. It rolled off the mountains and now into the town. We were lowered down onto the top of the great snowball, now Snowball Town, as the birds that had cared for us traveled away, going up, up, and away, went those birds that saved us today. Suddenly we heard loud grinding, grumbling, and pounding, not like the avalanche, but still unusual sounding. It got louder and louder and still louder its sound. Suddenly we saw the snow open up, and suddenly a man arose from the ground. He said, "Hey, kids, hop down and onto my tractor so that you can get off of this cold, snowy compactor." Inside the snowball there was a system of tubes that ran inside Snowball that helped us to travel on through. Down the great snowball and into the town, the tubes they would take us all the way down. The chutes in the snowball were meant to go fast. We whooshed by the upside-down houses as we sped with our sleds. We saw buildings made of ice that was new to our sights. We saw hollowed-out mountains and valleys of snow and of ice. We sled past the ski lifts and the gondola trams that were only traveled by those that carried a pass. Then we saw both highways that went up and lowways that went down that carried the people all over the town. Then there were cities and buildings made out of the ice. Like glass they shimmered and shined as they looked very nice. We saw flipped over houses and buildings being jacked up by workers trying to fix everything back up. When we saw our families, we really started the haul. Seeing them was the best part of it all. Then in the town we heard our Mayor Quimby, which said, "Listen up, dear citizens, listen to me. This snowball disaster will not be so free. We will need to use all of our holiday funds in order to get this town in proper order to run. I am sorry to all, and I hope you stay cheerful, but unless there's a miracle we cannot reconsider. So thank you all for coming tonight. Farewell and take care, and again I am sorry to all that are here." Then all of a sudden we heard a flurry of noise. We heard buzzing, rumbling, and groans. We heard humming, crumbling, ringing, and even a blast. It sounded like something that we've never heard in the past. My dad finally yelled, "Are these sounds going to last?" So quickly the mayor called an official to look through the snowball's periscope glass to tell us finally if the noises were going to leave us or were going to last. At first the lookout saw nothing, not even a flake, but as the noises grew louder, the visions they came. There were airplanes and helicopters, skiers and snowmobilers. There were those which were hiking and those that were climbing, as well as those that parachuted without any worrying. When the visitors came, they came and surrounded us with goodies and gifts and treats that were for all of us. They brought blankets, trinkets from every place all around. No one in town was now close to a frown. When they gave to our town, they put everything down. They gave so much stuff that we had no more room or containers anywhere around. The holiday miracle had come from the air, land, and sea by these wonderful people like you and like me that care for all others in need. After all the fun and festivities were done, the residents went back home to sleep in their bunks and their flipped-over beds to dream of all the festivities that lied for them ahead. The town slept together in that great snowball town, making it into a nest for every single sleeping person around. There's, however, one question that still keeps us a chatter. How did the world find out about our perilous matter?